Warner Brothers has finally released another original movie for the year, and hopefully it performs better than Mickey's 17. Sinners is a new genre-bending film from Ryan Coogler, the director of Black Panther, Fruitvale Station, and Creed. It centers around the twins Smoke and Stack, both played by Michael B. Jordan, and their musically talented cousin Sammy. Together, they open an exclusive juke joint for the African-American community of the 1930s Mississippi Delta before trouble comes knocking. I think that this is the type of movie where you shouldn't really set an expectation of what it should be, but instead you should just let it happen. Because I honestly came to this movie expecting it to be a full-on vampire flick, right? But honestly, it wasn't really the case. I came for vampire Hailee Steinfeld, but you know, I kind of stayed for the music and the culture that was portraying on screen because it's so refreshing to see that. And also vampire Hailee Steinfeld. I'm sorry, I had to. In terms of the structure itself, I feel like there's a bit of a disconnect between when it switches from the gangster movie that it wants to be and the vampire movie that it is at the end. Because in the first half, you're introduced to characters and their motivations and what drives them as you build an emotional connection with them. The first half almost felt like watching a Martin Scorsese's gangster movie, and I wish it would have kept going before the switch into the vampire flick that the movie trailers have been promising us. That back half with the vampire bit still feels pretty refreshing though, because you get to see takes on the vampire genre that we haven't really seen much of. I feel like the sudden switch in the way that the story is told might make or break it for some people, but personally for me I think it worked okay because the original core story keeps developing even though we switch the themes. I also got the chance to watch this movie in IMAX, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the experience there. With the IMAX screenings, you get a switch between the ultra-wide aspect ratio and the tall IMAX aspect ratio, and these are really well thought out and masterfully done. It's definitely more thoughtful and better executed than something like Transformers: The Last Knight. Because genuinely, what the fuck was that? The IMAX really allows the landscape and the action that it's captured to really shine on the screen. There's even this one moment where it shifts from the ultra-wide aspect ratio to the IMAX ratio before it's starting a fight scene, which genuinely was really neat to see play out on the screen. At the end of the day, Sinners is a thoughtful and heartfelt movie, which is rare to say in 2025, and it's set against the backdrop of the 1930s Black America that celebrates the culture, the community, and the music that was thriving there, which would later become a blueprint for modern culture as we know it today. I would encourage you to watch this in theaters because, after all,